Hello, what's up, gentlemen? Welcome to PKT Community Roundtable. We have a very special guest today. We have Caleb from Akash Alpha, myself, Jeremy Berger, Jesse Berger, Josh Berger. We're super happy to be with you guys today, Wednesday, April 2nd. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Yeah, big tariff day today. So it's exciting times watching the markets.
Yeah, it looked like we had a nice April 1st boost, and we'll see how that continues for the rest of the month.
Isn't today considered Liberation Day? Or isn't that what he was calling it?
Yeah, that's the official name. So hoping for the best here, guys.
That's not a good term when we talk about crypto, because it usually just implies you're getting liberated of either the value of your currency or your own money. So hopefully it's neither. And it was nice to see an April Fool's boost, but hopefully the joke's not on us.
Yeah, I mean today's a green candle. It's pretty
surprising, actually. So
yeah,
I'm for it.
Yeah, it's funny. In this space, whenever everybody believes something's going to happen, the opposite usually happens. So I think everyone was preparing for just a full rug on all markets, and but yeah, it's a hard market to predict these days.
Yeah, most definitely. We have a funny well, I guess it's not really that funny, but we have a joke that's circulating between the brothers, and it's whenever it's green, you short the market because it doesn't last very long. Yeah, I would love to jump into it. Caleb, why don't you do a quick little intro of yourself and kind of let everybody know what Akash Alpha is?
Sure, no problem. Hi, my name is Caleb, and I am the person behind the account Akash Alpha. Akash Alpha really is a community-oriented newsletter / what's going on. Basically, there was no way to easily follow what Akash was up to, and so I took it upon myself to go ahead and provide that news. There's always new updates, new integrations, such as the one here with PKT, and there's not a lot of what do I call like content or news about it, so I try to boost that up. So that's the idea behind Akash Alpha anyway. And so I've been doing it for about a year now, and I also serve on Akash's navigators team, so helping multiple places go ahead and integrate with Akash. And so always good to see what's coming up on the pipeline and get a head start on that. So it kind of works well with my mission to provide more information about what Akash has been up to. So that's just a quick overview about what it's about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's been a great project. The Akash network obviously been growing substantially. Do you have some stats or some intel that give the community some updates on Akash and just kind of some highlights?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're kind of putting me on the spot right here, but I feel like
off the cuff.
Yeah, I mean, off the fly, the coolest thing that I really liked was how as a holder, how they've improved their usage over the last year, right? So they've grown revenues by over 750%, which I think is really cool. And there's a lot of talk about what it would be like if Akash was more of a SaaS company, like if you were to measure it. I believe there was a number about CAGR, I guess, I forgot what's called, like the average monthly revenue that's coming through, and it's more akin to if it was a SaaS, it would be considered doing really, really well. And so I think that there's a lot of potential there. I think that as a holder, hearing about how they're going to expand the network and provide more GPUs, more resources, and how they're going to ensure that everything gets utilized, I think that's the most important part. And so, yeah, I've seen them build towards that, a utilization guarantee and towards more utilization-based metrics versus how many GPUs we have or how many CPUs we have. I think it's important to track what's being used, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. To seeing them upkeep that as they, claim that they're going to grow over the year. Right? Everyone's going to aim for that 10x.
How did you get involved with them in the first place?
How did I get involved? I think I found them. I think Akash was one of the first cryptos that I actually owned. And I think I was really enamored by the 50% APYs that they had back when they first started. And I had no idea what it was about, and the more I learned, the more I realized how hard it was to kind of get a grasp about it. And I just happened to dig infrastructure and kind of want, because it takes a certain type, right? Like some of it is very technical, it's somewhat hard to understand, and so and that's the reason why I made it my mission to make it easier to understand, to kind of explain to me like I'm 5, and so that's how I got started. And then after a while I really got into the mission, about separating the powers from the few, AWS and the top 3 that holds the majority of the cloud share. And so to be able to be involved and having the ability to be involved, right? Because I think Akash is very unique in that it has these open systems that allow for the community to come and contribute. I don't find that you can actually do meaningful work in a lot of projects. And so I really enjoyed this community aspect of it, and so that's what got me involved. And and so to be able to see these new systems like the Navigators program and new community-based programs that are popping up that I can contribute to as an outsider, I think that that's really, really neat. And so so I get more and more involved basically in the network.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's been cool at us as well, because we've been involved with Akash for a long time. We did when Packet first started, or as close to the beginning. We had met some of the people over at Akash, and we kind of were discussing how we could collaborate. And we had, back then we were doing a proof of work for mining for Packet, and we kind of worked out a partnership we're just a collaboration more so between the 2 projects, where people could go and mine Packet on top of the Akash network. And at that time we were having a lot of trouble because ISPs were shutting people down because it was using too much bandwidth, and they're like, wait, are you using crypto, and blah blah blah. And so we sent everyone over to Akash, and it was cool because it was really easy to use. Your guys' system is great. And then we got a note from our community saying that we had just wiped out the entire inventory of servers for Akash. And so it was just cool to watch people take action, watch these 2 things work together. And yeah, it was super successful, stint. And so now, as we've moved over to Base, and as we've evolved our ecosystem to come back and be able to collaborate with Akash again and make it super simple for people to spin up servers. I was just doing it with one of my friends. She's an influencer, not tech savvy at all. Not, she's been in crypto for a while. She was kind of one of those people that saw Bitcoin in the news in 2017 and was like, I should buy one of those. And that worked out for her. But she's not, a coder or anything, but she was able to go into the whole system and use the template and make it really, really simple to use, which was really cool to just kind of watch normies start to adopt this technology and be able to use it, where in the past it's always just been very technical and very complex, and good luck trying to do anything in the space.
Well, I just want to say one thing, because you're talking about in the past. One of the first guides that I wrote for Akash was actually how to launch a PKT miner. And I myself had like 10 miners. I was like, this is crazy. I'm just going to trade AKT for PKT, because it was really cool, because I was running on my computer at first, through the client, and then and afterwards I was like, oh, that's just one computer, and it really helped me realize what Akash could do, right? It helped me realize what I was actually doing, because it's hard to, as a holder, to really translate that to like, the use case at the end. Right. And so it was actually through PKT, that I realized, oh, I'm now deploying the same miner that I have on my computer on like computers around the world, and so yeah, it definitely helped me with that, and I was very happy to go through that learning period. So yeah, very grateful that I was there at the right time, at the right place.
Yeah, it was super successful. But I think it's cool to watch bridges be built between projects, and oftentimes it feels like you're kind of building in a vacuum, or you're off on your island over here, and wanting people to come and play with your toys and not their toys. And so being able to create these collaboration between technologies is exciting, and also making it very accessible to other people, where, let's be honest, networking is not the sexiest thing in the world, and it takes a certain kind of finesse for people to get fired up for it. But once you do, and once you see the simplicity of it, and once you start making money doing it, then it becomes pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So what's kind of on the horizons for Akash? Like, you guys have gone through a lot of transformations over the years, and you've really focused on decentralization and being able to kind of give the tools to the community to really self evolve and expand this. What have you kind of seen over the years as you guys have kind of evolved as a project?
So I'll answer. I guess I'll take that as what's on the horizon that that I could be looking forward to, right? Because a lot of things are on the move right now. I'm looking forward to verifiable compute. This is where we bring TEE onto the chain and be able to utilize that technology. I think that's a roadblock to a lot of more people using Akash. And the thing's interesting because the project right now is very focused on very GPU focused, because that's where a lot of the hype is, that the narrative is there. And so there's a lot of play towards that. And so these little small technological unlocks are going to be key, right? And the interesting part is that it's done by community. Like, this whole verifiable compute TE thing is done by a professor out in University of Austin. So there's not even the core team that's working on it per se, and I find that to be very unique because we can even go, as in, like, we can go further basically with the help of, the scaling of having others help us, right? Other things we're looking forward to is the scaling. I think Greg recently put out a hyperscaling plan on how Akash is going to scale for the near future, and how we're going to 10x or 20x the amount of compute that's on there, right? Be it any type of resources, right? Again, more GPU focused right now, but the idea is to have things such as a utilization guarantee to go ahead and promise providers of infrastructure that they're going to get their things rented out at a certain minimum. And I think that really brings the uncertainty down for providers. And Akash is a marketplace between providers and tenants, right? And so there is not one without the other. So you can have too much supply, but not enough people that are renting it. But you can also have a lot of demand for what they're serving, but then not enough people that are actually bringing their supply on. So I think that there's a very delicate balance that they're working through. And so I'm looking forward to that being on the horizons on how they're going to tackle that issue. And a lot of it, as a holder, the main part is, there's a lot of talk about increasing revenues, increasing the utility, the usage. And so that's also what I'm looking forward to. But there's nothing like, what's driving that is just more marketing and more, people realizing what can be done on Akash, right? Because there's a lot of things that people don't know about. And so, and that's the space I work in, right? But I hope that, I heard from the CFO, COO, Chang Wang, that they're going to improve upon their marketing team and their marketing house. And so, I'm looking forward to that as well. And so those are kind of like the more upcoming things, because the product already works, as you guys know. And so really, and it's permissionless, anybody can go and use it. The problem now is just getting the word out and getting people to actually come and use it, right? And so therein lies the crux of it, where you kind of want to, pair up all this talk about what is possible with actual results. And, plus Akash has verifiable results, right? Everything's on chain. So it's really easy for people to follow along. And so I look forward to tracking that progress.
Yeah. I think, I'll go for it, Jeremy.
I was just going to say, yeah, look, one of the things I love about Akash is the simplicity of being able to use the platform. For people who are on the stream here and you've never gone to, Akash, you should go check it out. And you can actually deploy CJDNS node on Akash, and you can pair that with your PKT stake and be earning through the, the packet dashboard. And I was just like, when we first, we're talking about doing this collaboration and setting it up so people could, easily set up the CJDNS nodes. That was the first node that I actually set up was on Akash, and I was just blown away at how simple it is. There actually is a video walkthrough on YouTube for anybody who wants to set up a CJDNS node that way. But I mean, you guys really, like, I love that you guys are the, the intermediate between, you're like a broker between, the people's projects and making it really simple to deploy on those platforms.
Can I also say that a lot of credit actually goes to the projects such as Packet that actually utilizes this technology? Because I've seen a lot of like new DPINs that come about that want to do it from the ground up, and then so they have to basically start from zero. And there's a lot of complications, as you know, with setting up the hardware to have the right specs and things like that. And so it definitely makes it a lot easier, what you guys have done, and this goes, again, in my experience, setting up the mine. I haven't set up any of the new nodes yet, but in terms of setting up the old miners, it was literally plug and play, one button deploy, change a couple of settings, perhaps, things that are not insurmountable. And I assume that, and throughout Akash's history, everything I've seen is pretty much one button deploy with a few settings that are needed, to make it like yours. And so assuming that's the same for what's going on now here, it just, it's a shame that I don't see more DPIN or more networks kind of just launched in this manner that makes it so easy to bootstrap, from nothing, just like boom, you can have, all of these nodes diverse and decentralized from day one, and so I think that, it goes to show, that even though you're right, that there's a lot of things that they've done right, there's also a lot of things that, projects out there need to do right as well, and so I just want to recognize that, some credit definitely goes towards, PKT for doing that, for recognizing that and for using it, Yeah,
I appreciate that. It was a cool collaboration, especially for this. And that's really been always my focus, because I'm not a very technical person. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but I wouldn't call myself a programmer or anything of the sort. And so being able to make it easy enough for me to do and easy enough for me to tell other people, because I also spend a lot of time working with people, trying to help them on board. They're excited about the project. They're excited about what we're doing. They want to be involved, but there's a barrier of entry for any of this stuff, because it just, whether it's super complicated or not, it's still, you got to like shift your brain to look at it a different way. And so being able to make as little brain damage for me as possible, trying to get other people involved, is super helpful. And so, yeah, it's been a cool thing. And I appreciate what you said. That's really just always been our focus, is making complex things as easy to use as possible. And also really just taking the whole like crypto blockchain, stuff and putting it behind the scenes where, you're just doing a task and you're getting paid for it. If you want to turn that into cash, you can do that whenever you want. But building out that network on a global basis makes it so that you're just getting paid to do this work. I was just, while we were talking, I actually have a node deployed on Akash. Here, I could just pull it up real quick. Let's see here. It's this one. Yeah, there we go. Here, Jeremy, you want to bring that up onto the stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm running a CJDNS node on here. I guess it's costing me $3.50. And yeah, it's just a packet CJDNS node. And I guess it's costing me $2.61 a month. There's some delta, but yeah, I mean, it's really just that simple. This thing just runs. It's connected to my wallet. I just have a bunch of Akash tokens in my wallet, and it just kind of self-funds itself. Actually, it looks like I'm running low. Maybe I only got one more month left in me.
But that's also like a really cool aspect is, being able to cut out the dollar, paying for things using, US currency or any, currency. You just go into a cryptocurrency, and it just, you load up your wallet and, you let this thing run for, what, it's almost been a year, Josh, because you probably did this. This is probably the first node that you launched. And that just means that, you put it in and that's that,
Yeah.
So and also, for people who are listening who may not know what, Packet actually does, like, this is just the infrastructure side of things. This is what builds the back end of the network. And what this network is being used for is what becomes really, really exciting for the future. Jess, do you want to kind of explain what all these nodes up actually do for the Packet network and why it's so important to have the CJDNS nodes, around the world?
Yeah, for sure. And when we started this back in 2019, the vision behind the project was to build a decentralized network. And it's like, okay, well, that sounds interesting. Why would you want to do that? Well, the reason is that right now, networks are pretty much either completely fractured, where you have, them domiciled around the world. You have to pay generally really, really high rates to utilize these various infrastructures. And, you have to figure out what are the use cases in particular that you want to use those things for. In the case of what we wanted to use a network for is to build a media distribution platform, essentially a global platform that is accessible by anyone and would allow people to actually self-distribute content such as movies, TV shows, content that people could stream and access and pay for on an international basis. Problem with that vision is that if you wanted to start something like that, you would have to start a company, open up a bank account, you have to have an identity for a company, and then you're going to be paying out of pocket for the infrastructure costs in perpetuity. As long as that network's going to be in existence, somebody's going to have to be the centralized operator of that network. And with Packet, this vision of DPIN, we were basically doing a DPIN network long before the word DPIN was even being used within the crypto space. But this decentralized physical infrastructure network essentially allows Packet to exist without there being a central operator. So it means that for our vision of creating this decentralized network, we don't have to run a bank account, run a company, file taxes to have a network that's globally accessible for all. And that network is being run by the community here. So the community now is accessing servers in various different countries, cities, and jurisdictions around the world. The community is economically incentivized to cover the cost of the server expenses, and then they're remunerated, they're paid every single day, every single hour, if you will, from the Packet network as compensation for maintaining that node. And that's how we have 160 nodes that are all over the world that are running the Packet network. Now, where Akash comes in is as a resource for people looking for a turnkey solution to have a node on the Packet network, because Akash has essentially a module that you can utilize the AKT token and pay to power, and it will just run the Packet network software package. And as a result of all those software packages being run on servers all over the world, plus there being an incentive for the kind of people who find jurisdictionally and regionally unique locations to run the software, meaning if there's a bunch of people running the software in the same data center, then the economic incentive is decreased. But if you find a location where other people are not running the software package, then you'll get a bonus. And so that's what's built the backbone of the Packet network. And then now that that's built and that's being operated by the community, it becomes possible to talk about the actual utility of the network, the use cases. What are people actually going to use this network for? And in crypto, there's a lot of hand waving where there's conversations about infrastructure, there's conversations about compensation, on the DePIN side in particular. But then it's like, what is the utility, like the real world utility where people can actually touch or use the network itself for things that are not crypto related, things that are more akin to the things we do in our normal daily life. And so Packet TV is the current focus of our core team right now, where we're building out a offering for media distribution, and that is completely using the Packet network. And so first example of that is the Packet Hub, which is, you can see on the screen right here. This kind of functions similar to an Apple TV in a decentralized way, which allows companies, not just focused on film or TV, but includes technology, music, gaming, can bring their brand and represent it on the Packet Hub here. And people can just, it's really a place for discovery. It's a place for people to navigate and discover different brands, different pieces of content, gaming, casino, and navigate using this as like a hub to those individual brands and get involved. The second piece is the Creator Hub, which is a place for individual pieces of content for content creators. It can be anything from filmmakers to musicians to, we're actually setting up a place for books and podcasts, where people can come and actually promote their own content, the things that they're interested in. And anybody can put their content up on this platform. You can see there's a submission button right there in the menu. And once you go there, you can submit your platform link, platform description, or in the case of the Creator Hub, project title, project link. And the Creator Hub will provide basically a backlink to drive users and audience to whatever piece of content that you're looking to promote. So we're looking for this to become a much more dynamic, much more heavily trafficked place. And again, this is all run on the Packet network. The other really, really novel piece of this story, and this is where the decentralized infrastructure also is important, is relative to what's called Packet DNS. So Caleb, who's the lead developer at the Packet project here, has created a domain name system that's unique to PKT and allows anybody to get domain names, Packet domains, for free for life. Essentially, you would go to the Packet dashboard at hub.pkt.cash, and you can acquire a Packet domain, so your name or your business.pkt, and you essentially create a stake in the Packet network that secures, as in the form of essentially an NFT, it secures that Packet domain into your Web3 wallet, and you own that for life. You don't have to pay a recurring, cost of a recurring fee every single year like you do with GoDaddy to continue to own that domain. And that domain is accessible from web browsers without any special software. So there's several other unique and even blockchain-based domain systems, but they all, either have a recurring cost that you have to pay, or require some sort of special software, like a plugin that you have to have on your computer to navigate to that website. So that's not very interesting when you want to put, your blockchain-based domain on, let's say, a business card, and somebody goes to the website and nothing happens. So that's not very useful. These domains use what's called a 3-level domain system. So let's say you would get jesse.pkt, and then what you're seeing on the screen here is 64 different active top level domains. So it'd be jesse.pkt.cool or jesse.pkt.bet. And I can pick any of these top level or .my. I can pick any one of these top level domains and my web URL will be accessible from any and all of these different web domains. That creates resilience for your web domain. It means that, let's say the .vc domain goes down, well, someone could still reference or get access to that website from any of the other 63 different active domains. So it creates an incredible resilience within the network. But the thing that I find to be the most exciting parts of the story is just the fact that it's free for life. Having a web domain, it's free for life. And so I have dozens of domains that I maintain. A lot of them I don't do anything with. I just hold on to the web domain. So I've begun to let go of various different domains that I pay, $14, $25, $35 a year for, and just move them over onto the Packet network and move the websites relative to those onto the Packet network. And yeah, now you can have free websites for life. So these are just a few sites that Jeremy's cycling through that people have built on the web or on the network. And yeah, we just encourage people to start experimenting with it. There's absolutely no reason not to have a website here, and especially based on the fact that it's free. So these are just some of the use cases for it. And we actually, in promoting the Creator Hub, the emphasis is for people who, let's say you have your brand, your band, a musical artist, a book title, a movie title, that you will come in, secure your web URL, and then that would be the web URL that you end up promoting. And yeah, you don't have to pay a recurring fee for maintaining that on the network. So we really are excited to get the message out around this and start to get more adoption around this domain name system, because why not? And it also directly benefits the Packet network and the Packet currency, because people are essentially staking to secure their web URL. It's not a lot of Packet, but it still creates the incentive for people to acquire a small amount of Packet and to lock it up against the NFT that will essentially secure their unique personalized web domain. So vanity URL, if you will. So anyways, a lot of fun stuff happening over here. Huge push right now on Packet TV. We're in the process of bringing in some very, very exciting partners and investors coming into that particular project. And we see that to be high tide rises all ships as far as bringing a lot of value and then ultimately marketing power behind the Packet network as Packet TV starts to take off. The last thing I'll mention is this really touches back to Akash and Akash infrastructure, global infrastructure around the world. There being an incentive for finding unique pieces of infrastructure around the world to be able to get the bonus, and B, helping support the Packet network. Now that the Akash infrastructure is actually helping power a real world network, kind of adjacent to the crypto story. This is really about a media and entertainment story. And you use Netflix, but you have no idea what servers that's running on, nor do you really care. You just want to make sure when you turn on the app, you can watch your show. And same thing with Packet TV. The infrastructure will be powered using blockchain infrastructure and community power. But as people use Packet TV, no one's going to have any idea. That's not going to be the emphasis in people's attention about which server in which country it's coming from. But that's where I think the real marriage between blockchain and utility comes in, is when we can stop talking about the blockchain itself and we can just start focusing on the utility.
Can I say one thing? I just want to say, really, really cool to learn about the stake to have the forever domain. Yeah. I think more places should really follow that trend of having the staking as a annuity or a forever, paying for things that should probably be need upkeep, right? And so really cool to hear about that. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, go get your.
Go get
as many.
PKT, my old PKT locked up, so I gotta figure it out first. It's just been
Yeah, well, I do a workshop every Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, and just anybody who has old PKTC or just has questions about setting up infrastructure or just anything, that's kind of where I just kind of dedicate an hour of my day to be able to just answer questions, help people troubleshoot stuff. And so, yeah, if you want help with that, just tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, just jump in and we can kind of workshop it and get you upgraded to the current situation.
Yeah, I would love that. Well, let me locate my my keys first, and then we'll figure that out for sure.
Well, yeah, you also probably need to claim your,
yes, do all
on
that
base too. So that's a whole.
Yeah, but like getting a free website sounds really kick ass.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah, it's been cool.
Out,
It's also what's cool is that you have all these top level domains you can use. So sometimes you want you can actually even just use the same website for different things. If you want the .net, you can use it for one thing. If you want the .homes, you can use it for another thing. Like a lot of people have websites that they're using for different parts of their business, same website. So being able to use all of those top level domains to drive people to the same destination is pretty cool. And also the resilience of it, making it so that somebody's not just making a decision to take down your website for any reason that they want, that there is this resilience to this network, and the internet is really, owned by the people. But yeah, I'm happy to assist you on that.
Yeah, sure. And you can, and anybody who else is, having, needs assistance, you can always hop into the chats and get, assistance. There's a bunch of mods in there and people that are willing to walk you through kind of the steps to claim your airdrop. You can also, there's a YouTube video that does a walkthrough. It's Caleb made it really easy for people to get their airdrops. And we, and for those who are, just tuning in for the first time, and you have old PKTC, there's it's broken up into 3 tranches. So the first one was in August, second one was February, and then the third one will be August again. So yeah, easy to
three airdrops basically, just to break it up over time. So yeah, it's and I mean, man, with this basically bear market / recession that we're experiencing right now, it's a great time to pick up some packet too. I mean, literally $1,000, you're picking up 3 million packet. We've never even seen it that low before. So, with the airdrop coming out, there was selling comboed with, the market downturn, and the bottom falling out of Ethereum, obviously below 2,000, being that packet's built on base, it's directly affected by the price of ETH. And so there's, opportunities to galore to pick up packet real cheap right now.
Yeah, but especially with what is happening with the media side of things and some of these names that we'll be able to announce over the coming month or two. It's been exciting because a lot of people just can't touch crypto. And, especially with what happened with FTX and all that stuff, like a lot of people are scared to kind of put their brand associated with crypto. But when we're solving a real problem in the entertainment industry, and it's a problem that people are very passionate about, we're seeing kind of a very different tenor on how people are engaging with Packet TV and with the Creator Hub and with the Packet Hub. And so that's been exciting to be able to tap into our networks from the entertainment business, where it's not like, oh, I don't know if I can, shill a shit coin. It's like, yeah, I really know I need to solve this problem for my industry so that I can have a job and I can continue doing what I'm doing. And, there's major problems that the entertainment business is experiencing. We watched the whole entire industry go on strike in 2023. And we've seen just this whole kind of upheaval where the big tech giants are, kind of putting their thumb on the creators. And so we're seeing a lot of creators, producers, filmmakers, content creators just of all types, and being able to really attract to this and say, all right, wow, this is a real big solution. And sure, there's blockchain involved, but the problem is, or the solution that we're focused on is the platform itself. And that's really the user facing element of it. So I'm really fired up on what these next few months will look like because of what we're building from the user facing application side. And obviously that sits on top of this network that's powered by our global community.
Yeah, the last thing that I'll mention that is really important, and I don't know what Akash's relationship with this part of the story as well, but CDN is going to be one of the key elements for, you know, high-speed data network and for streaming in general. And I know that in particular, Akash has been focused on, you know, mostly storage and CPU. You know, predominantly. Obviously, you guys have some other, you know, use cases and data centers doing some more diverse things. But I've been kind of putting a flag out there that anybody who has introductions on the CDN side, as we get into doing, you know, this media distribution, it would be really, really nice to highlight the CDN projects within the crypto community, because there are many of them. There's also great storage projects that have been around for a long time, and it would be cool that with Packet TV taking the bringing the awareness that it's going to be bringing, you know, both on the content side, on the celebrity side, to also be able to highlight on the infrastructure side projects that are making a big impact. Yeah, it's crypto, but they're also focused on making a more macro level impact on the world. And these community powered networks are incredibly novel, incredibly powerful. You have the engagement from their audiences and their communities. So it's like bringing that all together would just be so cool to be able to bring all those pieces together. Because I do feel that in crypto, there's a lot of fiefdoms, there's a lot of fracture. Everyone's kind of focused on their own community, trying to get the market cap of their own currency to grow. And everyone's, you know, there's a lot of isolation sometimes within the, you know, crypto ecosystem. So it would be really great to have a project that was able to both leverage and highlight each of these different, you know, contributing communities, and then have the community in turn be able to champion a project that was using their network, using their infrastructure, and ultimately have the community using that platform, which could really help, you know, help build things, you know, in a more cumulative manner. So that's something that I definitely think about a lot, and, you know, and hope that this can turn a page in the story on crypto to bring it more into the mainstream. You know, when people can see that, oh, wow, it's powered, you know, these things that I'm using every single day are being powered by a crypto network. And we see a little examples of that. We're starting to hear about blockchain being used, you know, in supply chains, you know, even, you know, banking is starting to talk about crypto. We have Amazon talking about using crypto in, you know, or blockchain in particular in their supply chain management. So there's some very, very novel use cases for crypto, but it still feels very, very fringe, and maybe it's just like, hey, it's just very early. You know, I always think back on the .com year 2000 Y2K crash around tech, and a lot of people got hurt with that tech crash, and, you know, firms were like, we're never investing in tech, we're out, this is, you know, not for us. Well, if you missed the boat jumping in back then, you missed billions and billions and billions of dollars, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars with the market cap opportunity and investment opportunity. So I do feel that even though, you know, we're over 15 years into this crypto world, it's still so early compared to where this is going to be. And I do believe that crypto will permeate through nearly every single industry. I believe blockchain will permeate through every single industry. And yeah, it just takes, you know, continuing to beat the drum, just, you know, not losing our gusto, and staying consistent with our messaging and storytelling and building community around these projects and stories.
I just want to say that I agree with a lot of what you said out there, especially in terms of changing like the crypto outlook. It is still hard for me to, as into crypto as I am, it is still hard for me to tell my friends that, I'm involved and work with that. And so I definitely hear what you're saying. And to what you guys were talking about how, now that the use cases are more base level for the normies to kind of take a look at it, and then they don't even need to know that it's blockchain running in the background. I think that definitely is the key to how we are going to overtake the incumbents, so to speak, because if we require everybody to make a wallet in order to do things, and everything is, Web3 only in terms of like very religiously so, I think that it's definitely going to cap out at a lot of people who don't really want to learn about the intricacies. And like you said, you just want to make sure that it works, not that how it works, right? There was you also mentioned something about tribalism in terms of trying to get the community together. I think that is a very good idea. I think it's hard for crypto people to see because we feel like our niche is very small, and it's best for us to remind ourselves that not only that we are still early, but our community overall is a lot larger than what it is today. That these people would totally be on our side if they knew what was going on, but they don't know the difference. They don't, like we're talking about, they're not looking behind the scenes to see who controls what or how anything is run. They just go, oh, hey, it works, And so as more and more people kind of realize that difference, and I think that can only be done through, like what you said, like getting people onto your networks, Akash doing similar things, but less so. I think that, for Akash, we're waiting on apps such as yourselves to kind of go ahead and do that outreach, right? Because we want to be the one behind you guys, know what I mean, as it is now, So I'm very excited to see some of these apps, like the ones you're building, to actually reach out to the common person, because that's how we're going to turn the tide, because we're going to add more utility to them that's not based on financial utility, right? Because it's all DeFi, it's all, like you said, banking and all that things, and it's just gives a little bit of a grime to it, like a little uncomfortableness that, it's somewhat sleazy, but when you're just trying to provide uninterruptible content, like when you're trying to provide this service that you can, like, oh yeah, that is a problem, that the centralized versions have all that power, I think it's a lot easier to see, it's a lot easier to understand, and I think that is how we'll grow our community. I'm not sure, I'm not personally not confident that we can get rid of the tribalism that currently exists, because it's very deeply ingrained that we all have to fight for hype, fight for speculation, and fight for, like attention to, like, hey, buy my coin instead of your coin or whatnot, but I personally believe that the biggest share is yet to enter the market, and that through projects like the ones that you guys are working on, that's how we're going to input the next wave, right? And hopefully not like the meme coin wave and, introduce people to get that and get wrecked and never come back to crypto again, right? I think a lot of people, back then when I first got into crypto, it was like, oh yeah, NFTs are going to be the onboarding, technology. And then it was like, oh, gaming is going to be the play to earn is going to be the next onboarding technology, And, I can buy some of that, but I really truly believe that DePIN is going to be the onboarding technology, because then you have people, using Helium network, and having their cell phones that are now powered by Web3. They don't even know it. And they're just paying a cheaper price. So they're just looking at the dollar signs and being like, that's great. When people discover Akash, they see the dollar signs like, oh, you can pay, 10x over here, or you can save, 80% by using Akash, right. Similar and whatnot, and so, and exactly what you're doing about saying, hey, GoDaddy can, can charge, but you can also stake and get it for free, over time, that's going to pay out, So I think that as more and more people kind of get into these new dynamics, these new tokenomics, these new incentives, right, that we are powering, that our industry is powering, I think that that's where the strength is going to come from in order to grow that pie. And then we can forget all about that tribalism, because then, it will be shared, and it will be through usage that people are buying PKT, right? So it can be because people want to stake their claim on their domains and whatnot, right? So like that's what we want to see. And so, yeah, I mean, all towards working towards that. And this is the hardest part, right? Not knowing if we're going to get there at the end, and still like plugging away and grinding away at getting to the final destination, So
yeah, you're so right on that. I love what you said, and I remember feeling a lot of uncertainty in that 2018, 2019 period, where it was just like, you look at every single chart, like every single chart was flatlined. I mean, I remember looking at the Cardano charts, like 4 cents or 5, it's just like it had gone all the way down, and it was just, everything was just flatlined. And I remember thinking, it's like, okay, there's no money to be made. I mean, maybe incrementally, but like, you can't just wait for a boon to happen with these charts. Like, the speculators are gone. And so it really was about that 2-year bear market, which was a brutal bear market, was really about who's going to come out of that having built real technology, like real impactful technology. And what came out of that bear market was DeFi. That was, if anybody can remember back, it was really Pancake Swap kicked off that to the 2020, 2021, bull market. That was really like the one of the major catalysts. And there were other catalysts too. We know that some of the macroeconomic, things that were happening with monetary policy on a global basis had a huge impact. And we know COVID had huge mega impact, and all the stimulus money that was coming into the global markets, for sure. It was the perfect storm. But there was also a lot that you could do suddenly with crypto that didn't exist back in that 2016, 2017 previous bull market, where it was just basically you write a white paper and your project goes up to a couple $100 million market cap. Now it was like, hey, what's your wallet technology? What can you do? We're talking about staking. We're talking about, real tech, real use cases for crypto and the evolution. That lasted a period, and it's still now a key pillar of our entire world in crypto. But the next piece is exactly what you said, which is really, and I've always felt this, it's really going to be around the apps. And I even think DeFi is an infrastructure story. It's going to be for some people, but it's not going to be for others. And normies were able to, and still do, make money in staking, being liquidity providers. Like, there's still ample opportunity in DeFi for sure, but not as much opportunity when the price is going down. And if you're doing anything that's collateralized, it's incredibly risky, right? We know that, it's essentially like a ghost, ghost leverage, when you're doing things in DeFi, especially when the markets are going down, it's very risky. So it comes down to what you were saying, which is like, what are the applications? What are the use cases? What are the actual apps that can be built and have community usage, where people are like, I'm using this, and it doesn't matter what crypto it is, doesn't matter what data center it is, I'm just using it. And like, the fact that it's crypto and making it maybe cheaper, more resilient, safer, decentralized, data security and sovereignty, like, these are all tenets that we know have become real important and key pillars of crypto that don't necessarily exist in the regular world. And now people can make that decision where they're like, and as more education comes in, I think it's, going to take a few more years for sure, but people can say, so I can do this, and that's the traditional way it's been done. And yeah, they have great branding. I recognize the logo. I do feel safe over there. Or I can do this, where it's cheaper and, safer and more resilient. And it's kind of the independent or alternative way. And I believe that those independent alternative ways can become mainstream. And we've seen this happen before. Companies like Salesforce, they were a baby, independent startup at some point. They were trying to push up against the incumbents, the Microsofts of the world. And they had a vision of, the cloud and, using apps to create efficiency and, building these CRMs that, aren't, relying on floppy disks. And it was just like, oh man, that's, I don't know if that's going to work. And now they're one of the biggest companies in the world, right? So we know that if you can stay consistent, and every tech story is the same. Amazon, Amazon was an underdog, believe it or not, at one point. Their stock price completely cratered, and people were wondering if they were going to be able to stick around. Same thing with Apple. Apple was a complete underdog. They fired Steve Jobs. It's like these are stories that are as old as our industry. And I believe crypto is an underdog right now, and there will be a turning point in time. I think it's just through persistence and just never dying, that people can use these infrastructures, use these projects, use these cryptocurrencies, and bring them into the mainstream. And it's just a couple of use cases that make that happen. Look, Bitcoin is obviously the market leader, and we're starting to see that adoption. And even in this bear market, the fact that the price hasn't gone down into the, and even if it does go down in the 60s, it's going to be very short-lived. I think, seeing Bitcoin hang in the 80,000s, even with all this market turbulence, is truly a testament to the strength of cryptocurrency and where this, I believe, is going to go. But yeah, it'd be great to see things other than Bitcoin start to pop off and start to gain that adoption, and hopefully we can all be on the forefront of that.
Well, Bitcoin is just like mostly institutions at some point, right? For a lot of it, So like I said, I think the large amount of people are still sidelined, at the moment. Yeah. And so, and I don't mean like investors. I just meant like my grandma's sideline, my mother's sideline, what I mean? Like, but once they, if all of them can get on their Helium phones and deploy their businesses on websites, hosted, with Akash, in conjunction with the DNS by PKT, that's really, the big unlock, when people are buying the cryptocurrency, not because they're speculating on it, but because they're using it, right? Like they need it to and I was gonna say, I'm definitely gonna put some content on PKT TV now that I discovered it, Yeah, so I'm on OmniFlix right now, and so like we mint out the video as like NFTs, and then it gets listed, So I'm gonna have to figure out how to bring some content over there,
Nice.
Do it.
But like with that, like because I'm using OmniFlix and I'm minting out the NFTs there for my videos, like that's why I own Flix. I don't actually speculate on that crypto. I just buy it as I need it. And so, I think more users like that is what will hopefully hog up all the available coins, right? So that the price will eventually, appreciate. I think that's where growth come from.
Yeah, we should reach out to OmniFlix, Josh, about getting them onto the Packet Hub too.
Yeah, for sure.
They always say that, the key to success in crypto is when people are using crypto without even knowing they're using it. Yeah. And so that's kind of like how, like, obviously like OmniFlix, like people don't even care that about it's all about the product and what they're doing. And especially with like the hub and like, Packet TV, like it's about the product, not about the cryptocurrency, but you need the cryptocurrency in order to do things with the product. And I think that's like the next level of things in crypto.
Yeah, I think
but the time is now, though, right? Isn't it? Because previously, you had problems with like money transmitter licenses. You had issues with, trying to get your network runs on crypto, but then like nobody can access it. You can't buy it off of any exchange, because you're not listed yet, and so on and so forth. And those are like the early, starting pains, growing pains. And now today, it gets a lot easier with Stripe integrations, within Web3 now, and so I think. In some ways we're early, but in other ways, like it's literally all the right stars are aligning like right now,
Well, it's built. It's like you look at these projects that are quote unquote legacy projects. They've just been building for a long time. It's like Akash has been building for a long time. That's why it's easy to use. Packet's been building for a long time. That's why it's easy to use. When we first started this shit, it was God help us, and that's just where we've come as an industry and where we've come as individual projects. And the projects that are still around today are the projects that have great tech because they've been building for so long. When you're in a bear market, it isn't about hype. It isn't about like how high your token can go. It's about what are you building during that time when there's not a bunch of retail around and a bunch of hype, and it's just like what can you create during that time. And, over the time, we've just been building, you guys have been building, and that's why it's been nice to collaborate with legit projects that are really building, really solving problems, that are here for the right reasons, that aren't just some meme shitcoin that's just going to go up and just disappear a week later. And those are the good tokens that make it a week, you know? And so that's what's been a fun collaboration with Akash, and looking forward to the future of just building out this industry, providing value and helping people around the world in a unique way with this technology.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to rehabilitating the image for everybody involved. You know, like I think, you know, I hope we're past the meme coin season at this point, you know, but just in case we're not, you know, I think that it's important to continually to push out content out there that says that there are others out there that probably, you know, that are maybe not as loud, you know, because we're not so gung-ho about shilling the coin to go up 10x or 100x, right? But you know, like you said, you know, we've been around longer than most of your pump fund coins, and we'll continue to build, you know, and that's where the value should come from, you know. And so I think that as more and more of these projects kind of stay on top of it, because as all the memes fall off and all the utility projects continue to publish and continue to push out these changes, you know, I think that's going to be the key to rehabilitating the image, and then we can all have a better industry together, you know. And then so definitely looking forward to that as well. Well said.
Well, thanks for joining us and having us
really
chat.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for all your support on the Akash side and getting everything pushed through. And yeah, we're just excited about the future, and appreciate all your guys' support.
Well, definitely appreciate you guys having me on. I had a great time talking about a whole slew of things. So appreciate the conversation. And if there's anything else, you know, of course, you know where to find me. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
No doubt. Just before we go, where can everybody else kind of learn more and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, so you can find me at Akash Alpha _ on Twitter or X, and you can also find me on Discord of Akash Club, which is a community that I'm building for AKT holders. You know, I'd love to invite the PKT community on. So it's not, I don't mean to start like a community just for Akash people. I mean to provide a space for everybody, like exactly what you were talking about earlier about having less tribalism. You know, it would be great to have, you know, I can make a PKT role on the server, you know, because you guys use Akash, you know, and so anybody from your community should be welcome to Akash Club. And so my idea is to run literally social events to kind of get the communities together. You know, I would love to run like a poker event, you know, with PKT versus AKT, you know, and then have the communities come together, because I feel like that's a little bit of what's missing too, because sometimes it feels so siloed, you know, like, again, I'm ashamed to be in a crypto industry. So like, you know, kind of feel like there's not enough community. I was born, I got into crypto during the NFT craze. So I was born on this whole community, you know, we're all going to make it, you know, mentality that might have fallen off. But the idea is that I still do believe, you know, in some ways, some of that, you know, so I would love to get community together, you know, and beyond just AKT community, but like I said, invite PKT along as well. And so I'm very much looking forward to meeting community members and talking deeper about what Packet Network is up to with those community members, you know, whenever I get the chance to meet them, you know. So
nice.
Yeah, when you're ready with that, just jump into the Discord and let everyone know, and we're happy to invite people over. And you know, we were talking about just kind of doing that case study and whatnot of people that are actually using the technology. So happy to collaborate with that.
Yeah, all right. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're here every week, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, make sure you guys, you know, adjust for daylight savings here in America. I know a lot of community members are spun out a little bit on the time change, but yeah, it looks like we'll have a few months of this time zone. So 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on X. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.